Hi, everybody, and welcome to Cambridge Photography Week and our on-demand content. I'm delighted to have Jean-Luc Benazet with me here today. Jean-Luc is based in Cambridge and is an independent photographer. And Jean-Luc's has got quite a story and has taken a lot of shots over the years, from being involved in the celebrity world to the music scene in Cambridge and beyond, and also more recently taking portrait photography in and around Cambridge with a bit of a difference. So let's get on with the chat. How you doing, Jean-Luc?
I'm good, thank you.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Good to have you here. Thanks for joining. So should we just start off with a bit of an introduction about you, Jean-Luc? Tell us a bit about yourself.
Okay, so I'm obviously a French citizen. I've arrived in Cambridge in about 1998, 24 years ago, early September. Originally to work as a translator, which I'm still on and off at the moment. Since COVID, I had to go back. But yeah, I came as a budding photographer, having done some training at uni in '95, a workshop that I really liked, and after that, really, I went on and on. My photography progressed, and yeah, I never stopped taking photos. Really
Lovely. And so, like, yeah, you've when we chatted and when I was looking at your website, I noticed, yeah, you've done a lot of celebrity shoots. So let's start off with that. Really, how did you get into taking all these photos of celebrities?
So when I arrived in Cambridge, I had just left my band in France. I was in a band for about 4 or 5 years
Okay,
as a keyboard player.
nice.
But then I realized, after that I hated the rehearsal and having a camera. You don't rehearse, you just shoot, and then you don't have to do any rehearsal.
Okay,
But
yeah,
sorry, but I really liked the music scene, really. So I wanted to get into concert photography because I like the music. Uh, but then, as a natural evolution, taking pictures of celebrity was also the same because when I got into Cambridge, I found it very difficult to get photo passes.
mm,
So I asked a magazine, a local magazine, and they told me generally that they were talking about the gigs before they're taking place to advertise them, but not
right,
after. And we sort of came into an entente cordiale where I would shoot pictures of Cambridge for them for free, and they would obviously credit me. But then at the same time, they would give me passes to take pictures of gigs in Cambridge Corn Exchange or Junction.
nice,
And I started like this, and it was amazing because then I started taking more and more pictures of gigs. And then I had an agency. I was sending pictures to an agency in London called Famous. And from then they asked me to shoot the London Film Festival and the Cambridge Film Festival. So then I got
nice.
more and more involved into other celebrity uh, photography, and that was actually interesting because I'd never done that before.
And you mentioned London Film Festival, and yeah, this is the one of the shots you took there, wasn't it? This is Eva Green. I recognise her. She's a James Bond, isn't she? James Bond fame.
Yeah, she's French. Her
Yeah.
mom is French, and she's there with Bernardo Bertolucci, the director of The Dreamers, and that was
Mm,
for that movie that I went there. And I was literally one to one with them. So they look at the camera, and it was eye contact. So generally, that's like the money shot, as we say, having eye
mm.
contact from a celebrity. There is like the actress plus the director. It was like amazing. So yes, very very happy with that shot. Um,
And you're surrounded by all these other photographers. There must be like what 20, 30 other photographers. So how do you get that? How do you get that eye contact?
I mean, very often. I mean, that I think that shoot was very lucky because I think I followed them. There was like an after show party after the premiere. I got
Okay,
invited there, and in that room we maybe five photographers. So that's lucky because they stop in front of me and they look at me, and the director smiles, and it's like it's good. But most of the time, it's true that you have like a wall of 20 to 30 photographers, and it's everyone shouts to the left, to the right, so that the people look everywhere. And when they look in the camera, obviously it's pure, most of the time pure luck, but then it's good. It's a feel good factor for the photographer.
Definitely. Actually, but you got invited to the after party, so there must be something there. There must be something that you did, or there's a way about you, Jean-Luc.
I don't know.
Being just, a nice
has happened.
person, being invited to, to something more exclusive.
I think maybe because she was French, therefore she's from the French media. Maybe with my accent, and I got invited. I got a similar thing with another French. So there's a French singer who's passed away now, Johnny Hallyday, and he did a movie called L'Homme du Train as part of the London Film Festival. And I went there to take pictures of him, and I got asked to come in a room with him 1-to-1. Just as I was taking photos of him, another guy came from the English press. And actually, my best photo of him is that when he looks at the other guy and talks to him, I took the picture from the side, and it was actually an amazing photo. But yeah, it's obviously when you get invited in a room like this and you 1-to-1 or with like a handful of people, it's amazing, because then it's not a chance look, it's a more of a genuine one, and they look at you in the chat. You can tell them if you like the movie, and then you establish a rapport, and that's great.
And that, that rapport, clicking with there's a famous quote, isn't there? Although I can never remember who said it, but is it more important to click with the individual than it is to click with the camera? I think that rapport is very important, isn't it? And go on.
No, one thing I didn't mention is that, lots of people asking me, it's amazing, you shoot all these celebrities, and then, you must be making a lot of money. The thing is, that's the quote I was looking for on my phone earlier, is celebrity photography and to an extent music photography is so glamorous that lots of people will do it for free. And the thing is, when you ask for passes, and you have so many people there who want to be there just to tell their mates they've taken pictures of such and such the next day, because it's great. It's a nice thing. I spend the evening with whoever at the film festival. It's especially if you go to the after show party, that's a ticket to to your dreams. So that's the problem. So many people will do it for free that then the pictures will be everywhere, and then there's no really. I didn't make much money for that. I mean, it's great for the portfolio because you got lots of traffic to your website because people want to see those photos. But money wise, it's rubbish.
And Matt Damon. Tell us about the Matt Damon situation. This was at a Blur concert. Is that right?
No. Sorry,
no? I'm getting my Damons mixed up.
So that particular shoot was at the London Film Festival, and I'd come to take photos of Ben Affleck, and he turned up in a jean jacket, and then straight to my camera said to me, "Don't take pictures of me. I'm coming here to support my mate Ben." The crazy thing was that I saw the film The Departed the day before, where he's a star in it. And it was surreal because I see him in the movie the day before, and then that evening he was in front of me talking to me, telling me don't take pictures of me. But it was a funny one because obviously he wasn't supposed to be there, and I took the picture and he's straight in the camera. So that's a nice again eye contact, and he's chatting to me literally. So it was funny.
Yeah, it's nice. And take the shot whenever you can, isn't it?
Exactly.
So he doesn't look too unhappy about it. It looks like he's in a good mood.
But what I didn't mention is that, so when I was coming to the London Film Festival, I used to work as a translator in Cambridge, and I was literally going after work at 5 p.m, taking my car with a stepladder because I would be the last one there. So I used to go to King's Cross, arriving in King's Cross with my stepladder, going up the escalator of Leicester Square with an escalator, with a stepladder, and then arriving and being at the back of everyone. And because I'm 6'2", obviously on a stepladder, I was higher than everyone. That's probably they were looking at me there because he can see me at the top of everyone.
Yeah, that's good. So, well, and you were prepared to take that stepladder on public transport. So good on you. That's commitment, and that that all that helps, doesn't it? I think definitely.
I was much younger then, but yes. So that that shoot that I was aiming for. Obviously, very you couldn't. He doesn't seem very emotional there. Very like just stern, like a statue. Again, a bit of an eye contact, but I think he was just looking probably to my left. I mean, to his
was
right.
this when you were on the ladder as well? Yeah.
Yeah. I was on the ladder there as well.
Quite a flattering angle for them as well, actually.
Yes.
You know, you're gonna.
Yeah. Lots of flashes from the left hand side.
Yeah. But he's like, no double chins or anything. You know, good angle because you're shooting from above a little bit. So, you know, he's going to be happy with that. Definitely.
But I mean, on this shoot, so you probably don't see it much on there, but behind me, I mean, around me, there was probably 20 guys. On the other side, there's another 20 guys. So it's like everyone shouts to the left, to the right, and it's flash all the time. We had like these portable batteries for the flash, because if you just put normal batteries in the flash, they would be gone in minutes. It was another world. It was I wouldn't dream to do it again now. It's just too much, too many people.
You said that here we got Elton John as well, so you got that eye contact.
So this one was a special one. I had actually gone to the Cannes Festival in 2002. I got a pass from my London agency.
Nice.
And that was actually just outside. There was this place called Mougins, and every year they do like a fundraiser against AIDS at the time, HIV. Okay. And he was there outside on the street, and literally people turn up, and you again, like in London, they shout, to the left, to the right, and people look at you. So Elton looked at me with a smile, and David Furnish obviously looks the other way. But it's again very chance. So there's not much creativity involved. It's very like is being there first row and then shooting, and that's it. It's nice because you see the celebrities, you can send them to your agency, and everyone is happy. But at the same time, even though it's glamorous, there's so many photographers. It's unreal, really.
Yeah, no, absolutely is. I suppose you don't get the same connection that you get with some of the other photography we're going to be talking through as well, because it's so competitive. There's so much going on as well, isn't there? So, but you had so you've talked about the music scene, and Corn Exchange. Obviously, you're going to be seeing lots of famous people. There was Amy Winehouse. Angel, was it?
So that day, February 2007, I think, I was there to take pictures in the pit. I stayed for the gig afterwards. Obviously, this one is an eye contact shoot. Amazing with this iconic musician.
Yeah.
But after the gig, I actually went to the car with a mate who knew her, and when she saw us, she hugged both of us, one after the other, and I got a hug from Amy Winehouse that day, and that was. Yeah, it was unreal. It was, but that's the kind of thing. Basically, you are obviously in the pit at that gig. We were maybe 3 or 4 photographers, but then when you go to the car next door, the pub, she's there, and then she recognizes your mate. She hugs him, and then he introduces you, and then she hugs me, and it's like it's surreal. It's like and now that she's gone as well, it feels so yeah.
Yeah, it's lovely. Well, she's an icon, definitely.
Exactly.
So,
yeah,
amazing. And where was this? Was this somewhere different then?
Yeah, so this one was at Glastonbury 2008.
Okay.
It's actually infamous gig for her because I think she gets close to the crowd, and either someone tell her something or pull her hair, and then she punches him through the crowd. I wasn't there because it was like, because when you take photos of gigs, there is this rule: 3 songs, no flash, which is you shoot the 3 first songs without a flash unless you're told you can use a flash.
Okay.
And for that Glastonbury gig, I shot, that was maybe the second song, and then the punch happened, in the middle of the. I mean, not that I wanted to record the punch because I don't think it wouldn't have given her any. But I think the video camera, got it. But that was very, very. I mean, one of the last gigs I saw her at. I didn't take any more pictures of her, but you can see a difference within a year, right? The first one and this one, she looked really different.
Yeah, definitely. And then, where was this then? So this was there's a bit of commotion on the stage, wasn't there?
Yeah, so this gig was one of the last one I shot in 2013. I stopped shooting gigs in 2013 because my son was born in 2013, so I felt it wasn't fair to stay for my wife to stay at home while I was having gigs all the time on my own. So this one was at the Junction, and the band was Funeral for a Friend. So very loud. You know, I was the only photographer there. So the funny thing, what happened is that during the gig, I felt like a thump on my belly, and I thought someone from the crowd threw it, but I was my back to them, so I didn't really get it. What happened, which I realized afterwards, was that the singer, there was a small bottle of water on the stage, and he kicked it really hard, and he hit me in the belly. And that was just afterwards. He collapsed on the stage, laughing his head off. So you can see the guy on the right looks at me and then doesn't really understand what's happening, and the guy behind him, he's laughing his head off, the guitar player, and then drummer looks at me with a funny look, and then he gets up and then goes like straight at me, like shouting like this, and then he hugs me saying, "Sorry, mate, I didn't mean to kick this bottle into you." So then I understood it was him. But it was so funny because I was the only guy there, the only photographer, and he came, he hugged me, and it was hilarious. But so I got hugged by a singer right in the middle of the set, which was
Oh,
fun.
brilliant! Well, it's proper connection with the music, isn't it? You know, you're like actually getting involved in it as well, which is
Exactly, yes,
which is lovely.
yes.
and then and this is I didn't recognize him at first. This is Charlatans, isn't it? Because he dyed his hair blonde.
Yeah, Tim Burgess. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've been a massive fan since my university years. This shoot was actually taken last Christmas, December 2021, and it's the first gig I did after nearly, I don't know, 7 years of not shooting any gigs. But it was, so it's a, I picked this one because it's very different to what I used to really capture normally. I mean, concert photography, generally 3 songs, no flash, so you have to be they move all the time, the light is rubbish, you've got to be really very precise with so either ISO or 50 mil, a very low light lens, f1.4 or 1.8, and try to capture something that's actually in focus. But this one, he was just there, like he was praying or something. It was just in the middle of so very easy to shoot, but at the same time, I felt an iconic moment.
Yeah, lovely. And Stereophonics. Where is this? Was this Corn Exchange?
Yeah, this one is the Connection as well. So this one is going back a few years, but again, he was looking. You can see the glint in his eye there. He's looking straight in the camera. I don't know how many photographers we were, but again, it's an amazing connection because you just feel very privileged to be, And actually, when they came back to the Corn Exchange, I printed that photo on 2 different. I actually printed another one, but I printed 2 different photos twice, and I brought them to the front of house to ask if they could be signed by the band. And at the end of the evening, I got one of them signed by Kelly, the singer.
Nice.
So very nice, very nice gesture from them. So they kept the others, but it was fine with me.
Brilliant. And this is Erasure, isn't it?
Yeah.
Classic.
So I'm a big fan of Depeche Mode from old, and then obviously Vince Clarke and Erasure. So this one again, pointing at me and looking straight in the camera. Very nice. So eye contact, and again,
Didn't have your ladder for this one.
No. That's a Corn Exchange again. I'm in the pit. I don't know how many photographers, but yeah, again, you will have sometimes some artists just take a liking to you and then just interact and are nice, and so that's a nice gesture. Obviously, it's a bit grainy because obviously it's dark. You cannot see all the details, but I think just capturing that and him pointing was a nice one for me.
But even if it's grainy, I mean, it's not just about getting it absolute picture perfect, is it?
No, exactly. That the idea is to get an interesting shot. I mean, the grain is part of the photography for me. If it's there, it's there. I don't really, I'm not gonna complain.
How do you? So that thing where you've got people on stage and you're wanting to get that kind of that connection with them. Is it that you're, how do you do that? Is it that you're not always stuck behind the camera because there's that barrier, or what's is there kind of a trick that you've used, not a trick, but is there kind of your style that has encouraged people to
I don't know
give that
really. I don't know
connection to you?
if it's the face, because obviously you take the camera off, you look, and then I tend to do that a lot. So I have the camera, and then I pull up and then look what I want to take photos, and then I move in the pit. I've got this anecdote about the charlatans, for example, like Glastonbury in 2008, where I knew all the songs of the band, and they started playing the only one I know while I was taking photos, and I was singing as I was shooting. And Tim, the singer, went like that to the camera. He went, he gave me his hand like this. So I took the picture, and then he went thumb up to me, like as I was singing. And it's just like this connection, which you don't get any. I mean, you don't get anywhere else. Obviously, sometimes maybe, but it with a star like that, and in the middle of a gig, it's priceless for me. It's just like this kind of connection is just amazing. But
that's what makes it special, doesn't it? You can take away all the equipment, everything, and that's really what makes this kind of photography so special, is that connection.
Exactly, yeah. And I mean, or meeting meeting the artist at the bar afterwards, and he recognizes you and he chats with you, or getting invited, like a short elbow, or the connection, he got invited at the after show party. This kind of thing is very special, and I can count it on the fingers of probably one hand when I got invited. I mean, my first ever gig I shot at the Con Exchange was Fun Loving Criminals. And I got really nice photos. When they came back to Cambridge, I printed them, and I managed to get invited by the publicist to the after show party. And I showed the band my photos, like in hand, and they were like, "Oh my God!" They got me under the arm. They got me all sorts of drinks to drink, and they were like, they couldn't stop talking. But it was an amazing moment, because I don't think it'll happen again. And then they came back again, and then I have a few photos that there's not enough time to show, but they did a DJ set after their gig at the Fez.
Oh really? Oh yeah, the Fez.
And I went to take photos of them there, and then they look in the camera, they keep playing, they know me, so it's like, I mean, they know me, they remembered me, so it's just really crazy. And over the years,
taking those photos, but printing those photos out and giving it to them, that all kind of, that's part of it, isn't it? Because that's enabled you to have that connection with them, which is lovely.
Exactly.
Yeah, we had there was a lot of photos we looked at before this chat, weren't we? Our green room chat was going through lots of photos. You got some lovely things there. So unfortunately, we can't show them all. But then you got Kate Winslet as well. That's a good example of you getting that kind of eye contact,
smile and eye contact. So that's like double.
In fact, yeah, that's a great smile, that is. And then for you, this was you in Cuba, wasn't it? So for you, when we were talking, you said this is quite a defining moment for you.
Yeah. So I feel that in the past I used to, so obviously doing the celebrities, the gigs, always wanting the eye contact and the smiles and everything. But I went to Cuba, so I took a trip with a company called Light and Land. They organize photography trips for people across the world. So we were a group of 12 people. I was probably the only semi-pro / pro there. And for me, I was curious about the people, the faces of Cuba, really, the people I could actually capture there. And we had 2 tutors, so they were professional photographers. And I was constantly talking with them about the thing, what they think. And this guy was a poser. He was posing for photographers. And when we arrived in Cuba, literally the first person we photographed was him. So we arrived in a square, and there was a tree behind him. It was very busy, and the tutor said, "Okay, this is a poser. I'm gonna give him like 5 pesos, and then take pictures of him." And I looked at him, and behind him, it was so busy with the tree. I thought, no interested. So literally, I wandered off the group, and I wandered in a side street, and I found this yellow house with a massive yellow Oldsmobile, a car, an American car, and I took that photo, and I was the only one to get it because nobody followed me. when I got back, they kind of finished taking photos of him, and then we wandered off another square, another different photos. And about 3 hours later, we stopped for coffee for when we sat at a table in the middle of Havana, and we were talking about because people look at you and then they want money, and then obviously if it's a poser, he will want money, and then that's fine. But if it's people in the street and you give them money, you tend to keep a trend, which is not, you shouldn't really encourage money for portraits.
Yeah.
And as we were talking about that in that cafe outdoors, I see him wandering in the square, the same guy from before, and he stops in front of that blue door and just looks around for people to take pictures of him. And I literally grabbed my 200 mil, and then from like, I don't know how far I was, 50 yards, 100 yards, I took pictures of him.
Lovely.
And then I just put my camera down and like if nothing happened. And this iconic photo, for some reason, there's no eye contact, but the whole composition around it, it's just amazing. It's one of my probably most selling photo of Cuba that I've taken. And
really?
I promised myself to go back, because I found out recently that he lost the leg. This guy, he lost the leg.
Okay.
And I promised myself to come back to Cuba and give him some of the money I made with his photo, because it was just...
Oh, nice. Yeah, that's nice.
I want
idea.
to do that, yeah.
One day.
Yeah, in Cuba, I discovered that there was an evolution throughout that week in Cuba. I started shooting with a 200 mil, and then little by little, as the week progressed, I changed to a 50 mil, and I went in the scene to take pictures really close to the action. And I think that actually made my portrait photography evolve like crazy, because some people, if you come in close, they can choose to look away if they don't want their photo taken. Because with the 200 mil, you can take anyone you want in the street, they won't see you. Or they can, but most of the time they won't see you. But with a 50 mil like this one, you go in the scene. I was very, very, very close. Obviously, the guy in the middle looks at me straight in the camera. If he doesn't want his photo taken, he can look away, but he just chooses to still look. And then I capture the rest, which is an iconic people playing in the street. Very... Cuba was just like amazing for me. It was a total not like a 180 degree to my photography taking, but my portrait photography and my wedding work improved tremendously, because I instead of using a long lens while I was far away, then from that trip I used fixed lens, like 50 mil, 85 mil portrait lenses, and trying and blur the background a bit, make like the subject interesting, rather than just capturing from afar or wanting eye contact at all costs.
A lot more intimate, wasn't it? I think it's really, really nice. And this is like, so this kind of, then you go from Cuba, zooming back to Cambridge, and you kind of moved into a lot of portrait photography in Cambridge. So was this actually connected to music as well?
Yeah. So this one, Luc, he was a guitar guy, a guitar player, and at the time he wanted some moody shots that look a bit gritty, and he was from Cambridge. So I remember this bridge, which I call the Rusty Bridge. It's near
it's near the Lees, isn't it? It's on the Fen, yeah.
Exactly, near the Lees.
Near Fen Causeway. I'm very familiar with that. Called the Green Bridge for some reason. It must have been green once upon a time.
And we went it was like really like nearly the golden hour. It was a low sun. And we did like so many of there. And he's actually released an album this year, and he asked me for permission. He asked me for my address to send me the album, because it features my art, and it's really really nice. I really like that shoot with him. But that there's I realized that the portrait, then eye contact and everything. Obviously, some portrait eye contact will be very, very important for headshots or for LinkedIn profile and stuff like that. But images where you want to tell a story of the guy, so most of the time I really privilege also the surroundings, and the light is important for me. And so yes,
it just adds a lot more variety, doesn't it? It's easy for portrait photography just to be that looking down the lens and that's it. And this photography, definitely what you've done is like, this is a really lovely one, with the car, and then this is connected with film, isn't it? As well.
Yeah, so
Film festival.
Yeah, I've been the official photographer for the Cambridge Film Festival, which is happening at the end of October, actually, in Cambridge this year. And I was asked to take pictures of this guy. He was actually a documentary director, and he released a documentary called "Poached" about people who poached rare birds' eggs from the nests. And I didn't realize until afterwards that the pub the eagle it's an endangered bird, right? So it's like it was crazy because of the whole thing of his film, and I had been chasing him the whole week in Cambridge to take pictures of him for the website and for record and stuff photography for the festival. And I found him in the street drinking with his friends, and I asked him, can I take a few photos just there? And we did a few by the doors there, but the door, the position, the dreadlocks, I think it's just like, yeah, I just love this shot.
Yeah, it is. Right. It's well, you set the scene, but it's relaxed, isn't it? It does.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I didn't say to him, do this, do that. I just said, I just need a few there. It's going to take 5 minutes, and it literally then you see the car, which is like a vintage car, and then everything makes sense. I did some also close up of him with the window on the left a bit more prominent, and then with the light in the pub, and they were also very nice. And yeah, no need for elaborate thing. Once you get, I mean, I got lucky. I think it's very lucky with everything that happened, but I trust my luck. I'm normally very lucky.
but you make that classic thing. If you make your luck, you ask the question, you went up to him, and that's resulted in you becoming lucky, isn't it? It's
no, exactly. The more, there is there is this golfer quote where that said the more I practice, the luckier I get. Yes.
Exactly. And then we've got this one. So you've been saying part of your professional work has been around, having commission work around portrait photography, with people around Cambridge. So, and this one you said you were particularly happy with.
Yeah, so I put it on a website recently, and a lot of people commented, and there was a guy who actually was not very happy with the way the eyes look, and because there is a glint that shouldn't be there. But I don't care. For me, I just nice. I love. I don't know what he was on about, but I love the negative space to the right where her hair actually just melts with the darkness of the corner of that room, and she looks to her right at the window really, and the window lights her face gently, and for me that's like she's reflective, and I mean I love everything about that shot.
From darkness into light, isn't it?
Exactly.
It's lovely.
So I'm very fond of that shot. I cannot explain exactly what. Obviously, I love the model as well. She's very photogenic, and we've done lots of shoots together. But yeah, very yeah.
And you this one, you said she wasn't a particular fan of photos of herself before.
So this young lady, Francesca, she was very I don't know if she was shy, but she wanted photos of herself. But she said to me, I'm not very comfortable in front of the camera. She needed photos of herself that show that she's in Cambridge. And I remember when she arrived for the shoot, we started in city center with like break backdrops, or we tried to have different backdrops, wood, and she had her hair tied as well. And I didn't feel she was like all, she looked a bit, not stressed, but everything was kind of with this tie. And so I said to her, maybe take the tie of your hair and then let it flow. And then as we got to Kings, we did some photos with green background with the trees. And that one is one of my favorite, where she looks, it's the end of the shoot. So we've been chatting. I mean, very often I keep saying there's probably about 15 minutes or 20 minutes in the shoot where, if it's an hour shoot, where you put the people at ease. You take photos obviously of them, but you see the evolution. If you look at the first photo you've taken and the last one, and this one was probably one of the last ones, there's such a, she was so relaxed. She said to me, you made me look like so great, and I wouldn't have dreamt to have pictures like this afterwards. And that's the win, right? Because as a portrait photographer, obviously I get paid for the hour, but to get actually pictures that people are very happy with, that's the win for me. I'm really happy that I managed to convey that for them. And I mean, I've been really lucky again that since the COVID lockdown, actually, when it ended, my website was top of Google for portraits, and I got inundated by inquiries. And especially with COVID, with the social distancing, I used to take pictures with a long lens, so I was away from people. But little by little, I came back closer with the fixed lens. But I shot so many portraits that I actually now shoot more portraits than weddings or the rest. Portrait and to an extent corporate photography as well, which is portraits. But it's true that just to make the people look good or to have a portrait they're happy with is really satisfactory. It brings satisfaction to me. It's
yeah, totally. And what's where would people go if they wanted to look at more of your work? What's your website? We'll put a link into it in here as well. There'll be a link in here as well.
So I've had a website for quite a long time, which is jeanlucbenazet.com. And I'm also the owner of a website I created 10 years ago, which is cambridgephotographers.co.uk. But this one I work more with other photographers. We like a team. But since the lockdown, I created a website exclusively for portraits because I get so many inquiries about portraits. When I give them the URL, I get booked straight away all the time. And it's nice. Benazet, my surname, BENAZET.photo. And that's a very quick URL, very easy to remember. And I get so many inquiries now from that website. Is crazy. So it showcases the portrait, a bit of the corporate, and the gigs as well. I've taken pictures of because I like to bring a bit of the glamorous in the. But yeah, it's and since the lockdown as well, the number of inquiry for dating profile has exploded completely, and obviously dating is very, very different to normal portraiture when people want their photo in front of them.
It's very competitive, isn't it? Very competitive.
Yeah, but as well, with the dating photo, you cannot have a studio photo for that, but at the same time, it needs to look a bit like if it was taken by a friend, even though it's a professional one. So it's a specific way to capture photos.
Totally. And if so kind of let's wrap up with just a kind of final thoughts on, if someone's, because you're working, or you've been, you're working, but you have your website and you do your portrait photography, and if someone was thinking about, they love their photography and they're thinking about moving into, making money from their photography, what one piece of advice would you give them?
I mean, if you trust your eye and you think you got something there, and your friends tell you take really good photos, I would probably start with an Instagram account where you publish your work, and then maybe advertise your work and try and or a website as well. But then to have it ranking is difficult. But with an Instagram account, and then say you're in Cambridge, and then little by little maybe take pictures of some of your friends, try and like I did with the girl in the cafe, time for print, where you give them prints and then they give you your time for free, so you build up your portfolio, and little by little then you get a nice portfolio, and then you can start charging, and that's the idea. That's how I did it, really.
Lovely. Well, you'll be at the Cambridge Photography Show on Saturday the 8th of October with Mark Box, and Mark Box runs the Humans of Cambridge Instagram account. So we're looking forward to having you at the show, Jean-Luc, talking about portraiture photography, and there will be a bit of a Q&A with Jean-Luc and Mark, and then you'll be going out into town, won't you, to take some street portrait photography. So anyone who's interested in that, get on to book yourself a free ticket for the show, and then tickets for workshops like this are £20, starting at £20. So thanks very much, Jean-Luc, really appreciate it, and we look forward to seeing you at the show.
Looking forward to it. Thanks for the invite, Chris. Cool. Thank you.
Thank you, mate. Okay, cheers, bye now.
Bye bye.